it's our stories that unite us. It's not our ability to run a 7-minute, 10-minute, 14-minute mile, compete at an Ironman, compete at a 100-mile event. It's our stories that connect us.
Hello, family. Welcome to another episode of the Live Run Boundless Show. I'm your host, Kenneth Pinkney. Today, guests are, I like to say, they are the 1-2 punch and co-owners of RunTri Bike, Jason and Aum. I had connected with you fellas in April last year, if I'm not mistaken, with that interview of a mutual friend, all three of us, HROD 619, aka Hector. Since then, we have built a friendship, collaborated some project, and inspire each other to be our best. So first, I just want to just do like Jason, born in Bronx, lived in New York for 34 years, competed in endurance sports in 2007 with 8 Ironman finishes, 8 100-mile finishes, and a 250-mile finish. Also, Ironman bronze award athlete. His goal is to have fun while competing and provide support to those who just getting started. And my man born and raised in East LA, social media manager, content writer, ultra trail runner, great love for the sports of trail running in the community. He has been able to use his professional and personal activities to inspire others by leaving a positive impact, and that he definitely had done it. Joe also be out in the mountains, reading, crewing, racing, and watching NBA basketball. Probably a Laker fan, maybe, or a Clippers fan, I know.
Totally Lakers fan.
They're all Laker fan, okay. So Live Run Boundless Family, welcome Jason and the owners of RunTri Bike.
Hey,
Hello.
Kenneth,
Yes.
before we get started, can we just stop this? Because you did such a great job of talking about us. Anything we say might ruin it now.
I agree.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Definitely, Yeah, so yeah, definitely accomplished a lot. So definitely. Um, yeah, so before we get into RunTri Bike, I just want to just talk a little about both of y'all journey before RunTri Bike. Anyone could take first stab at it.
We'll put age before beauty, so I'll go first. So I got started 16 years ago, and when Aum tells his story, it's going to sound very similar, but I got voluntold that I was going to be running in a half marathon.
Yeah.
And my first reaction was, what's this wee stuff? You got a mouse in your pocket? Like, I am not running a single step.
Yeah.
And got signed up for a half marathon in Westchester, New York, went to the local middle school, and I ran a quarter mile. And man, I was heaving and huffing and puffing. And I walked a quarter mile. Then I ran another quarter mile, and I walked a quarter mile, and picked up my Gatorade, my little towel with my Air Jordans on, right? Didn't know anything about running shoes and proper attire. And I thought, I'm the king of the world. I just covered a mile.
Yeah.
And went through the training program with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and ran my first half marathon in 2007. And it just exploded from there to wanting to just figure out what was next. I've been a competitor my whole life.
Okay.
I played baseball, football,
nice.
at the high school level, and just competing was something that I just wanted to do. And now that team sports was over, it was like, what are you going to do? And I found running, or running found me, really. And then the ball just kept rolling downhill from there to here we are, February 2023, talking to you on the Live Run Boundless telecast. It's an amazing journey.
Yes, it sounds like an amazing journey. Yeah, definitely. Cool. Yeah. So y'all, how about your story a little bit? Can you hear?
Your audio's not on, bro.
Oh man. All right. First scoop of the day. But yeah, I started 5 years ago
Yeah,
on my journey in running.
yeah,
Actually, it'll be 5 years in April.
nice.
And similar story to Jason's. I don't come from, for me, the difference was I don't come from an athletic background. I was
Uh-huh.
for the first 18 years of my life and had pre-diabetes.
Mm,
And never really did any fitness or fitness related things.
mm,
And then about 5 years ago, I stepped out the door for purely mental health reasons
yeah.
and ran a quarter of a mile. Ran a quarter of a mile. Just kind of, same thing, was like heaving. I felt nauseous, but
Mm,
something just kind of kept bringing me back to it.
yeah.
And I committed to my first half marathon down the line, decided I wanted to do a 5K, and
Yeah.
it just kind of like snowballed from there, like it always does. And somewhere along the line, I think a lot of my endurance sports journey has centered around RunTriBike. And,
Mhm.
I wrote a feature for the company way back when RunTriBike started. And that was actually how I met Hector, which, is the reason why we're having this chat today. So
Yeah.
um, it's just crazy how things work like that. I mean, I've said the story a few times, but
Yeah.
every time I say it, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, it's definitely. Hector was the key for bringing us together. Allowed to be here right now.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
shout out to HROD.
Yeah, HROD. Yes, yes. Um, so the ideal or the process of run, try, bite. So I get Jason, you probably could expand on that more. How did you get started? You being the founder of Run, Try, Bite.
Yeah, so I mean, let's go back in time. I
Yeah,
had started a blog about 10 or 11 years ago
yeah,
called Cook, Train, Eat, Race, and was writing a blog. And for the longest time, I just kept thinking to myself, this is a business. This is a business. How do we make this
yeah,
into a business?
yeah.
And then, like a lot of things, life happens. You
Mhm.
you worry, and one of the things we posted today is stop worrying, start doing.
Oh,
Well, back then, all I did was worry. What if it fails? What if
yeah,
this? What if that? And so it never came to fruition. And then the pandemic hit.
yeah.
And I was working for a company called Travel Host at the time. And the owner, my mentor, Bill Schroeder, who was a serial entrepreneur,
Mhm.
got a phone call one day. And the phone call was if he was interested in buying a business called Texas Runner and Triathlete Magazine. And he knew of my background in endurance sports and asked me if I was interested in buying it.
Mhm.
And I had a conversation with the owner. I had two conversations with
Mhm.
them, and what they were asking for and what they were offering
Mhm.
were just in completely different worlds.
Yeah.
And I looked at Bill and I said, I don't need to buy a business. I can start this business on my own.
Mhm.
So I placed a few phone calls to some freelance journalists that were writing for other publications. And I said, what could we do to make ourselves different and stand out from the crowd?
Yeah.
And they all told me, if you write to, with, and for the beginner, you've got a niche, you've got a market that you can sort of explore and grow the business from. And I thought it was
Okay.
a great idea. But I thought to myself, but what if these other publications
Mhm.
see that we're gaining momentum and decide to put their resources behind it as well?
Okay.
And so in that moment, I just thought, we need to talk from the middle of the pack to the back of the pack.
Mhm.
And instead of talking from the front of the pack to the middle of the pack.
Okay.
And in that component, I thought we need to highlight people's stories. And I want those stories to be from women, from people of color, from LGBTQIA plus, from physically challenged athletes, whether that's visible or invisible
Mhm.
challenges that they have to overcome, because it's our stories that unite us.
Yes.
It's not our ability to run a 7-minute, 10-minute, 14-minute mile, compete at an Ironman, compete at a 100-mile event. It's our stories that connect us. And so that was around September, October of 2020. And January of 2021, I filed the paperwork to get the business started. And we put out our first magazine in March of 2021. And it's been a wild ride since
Yeah.
then. But I mean, connecting with folks like yourself and Ohm being one of the very first people to write for us before,
Yeah.
we were even, born, basically. It was crazy. And now we get requests from people like yourselves that are like, hey, come tell your stories on our show because you guys are doing great stuff. And you have no idea how much that means to us to hear that we're having an impact on people's lives and encouraging them and inspiring them and motivating them to go out into the endurance sports world.
Yeah, definitely. Y'all inspiring me. So I'm grateful just able to collaborate. A couple of times with y'all. So yeah, definitely. So gratitude for me. Yeah. So definitely, I do have a great story. So I guess y'all like talk about already about the relationship between y'all two and how got to the midst of RunTriBike. So could you just tell me whatever what do you saw on RunTriBike to make you want to be a part of it?
I think it was just the fact that I had these values that were instilled in me through my journey in endurance sports,
Yes.
through who I am as a human being, and that is an Indian American athlete, which is a minority, and it's a minority group within endurance sports. And it's one thing to like be those values, or like it's one thing to like grow up and be raised in that particular way, and it's another thing to find a synergy or an organization that it was like, I guess, just being about those values and taking action in those values. And to this day, like, no matter how many times I tell the story about like how I became a part of RunTriBike and how I started riding for them, like Jason and I will go back and we'll wonder how this whole thing got started. And I still can't figure out how I found these guys on Instagram.
We're good at marketing, dude.
Yeah, it was. But, and like, it's all those crazy, I don't believe in coincidences, like, I mean, I wrote a How It All Started feature for them back in like, I think April, like a week before my first 100-miler. And then Hector's happens to be the very next one. So I reach out to him.
Okay.
Going back to what your question was, like, I think it was just from the beginning, I felt this synergy. And then I sort of made this decision to leave my corporate career as a civil engineer because I knew that I wanted to write. And I knew that I wanted to do something within endurance sports. And so I reached out to Jason in October of 2021, about 6 months after I wrote my first article for RunTriBike. And I started writing for them. And then that sort of just snowballed into like, let me give this social media thing, which I had absolutely no experience with at the time, a shot. And I don't think there's any way I can explain like what attracted me to this organization other than the values and the synergy. It's just, I think, just finding people on the same wavelength as you and just realizing like this person might not be the most important person in the world, but we have similar values, and there's something about this person, these people, and this organization that I want to get to know more about.
So you had a whole different career as a civil engineer. So you just quit that. How long you work as a civil engineer?
When did I? So I was a civil engineer for 5 years.
Okay.
Graduated in 2016. Studied. It was this last year has been a roller coaster, to say the least. Like, it's been a year and a half in the making, maybe even longer, 2 years in the making, but it's like it's a complete 180 what I've done. Like, I've gone from having experience in an industry and being not a rock star in that industry, but like, having like a footing in that industry and doing something that's totally out of my comfort zone as like I would generally describe myself as an introverted person. Like, you
Yeah.
know, here talking to you, talking to
Yeah.
even just having conversations with Jason, I'm like, man, I'm gonna goof up like right now, you know, like I'm gonna stutter, like, you know, had speech impediments growing up,
Yeah. Yeah.
and all that. So like, I mean, marketing and social media is a complete 180 as a career, but
Yeah.
and it just I think it just comes down to all these things happening at once, you know, meeting
Mm.
Hector and
Yeah.
meeting somebody like Jason who has similar values to me. And
Mm.
I think the commonality in all of it is the people you work with and the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
It is also a big reason why I stay in the endurance sports community. It's the community is just special.
Yes, it is, and you're going to get the community. So, but yeah, it take a leap of faith to like to give up your career, and just go to something totally different. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It kind of like you had a safety net as a civil engineer. So yeah, yeah. So
totally.
yeah. And actually, I was listening to this podcast early today. Uh, this person had that similar story. She had a career sitting down at the desk doing work, but she could do more as an athlete. Like she was a superstar CrossFit athlete. So she dropped her day job to pursue CrossFit uh, as a career. Yeah, it worked out pretty well for her. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So definitely, some people think it may probably be crazy to do that. So yeah,
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 I just, you know, got to give a shout out to anybody who is taking that leap of faith right now and just
yeah,
tell them to just keep moving, you know?
yeah, yeah,
You know,
definitely.
one of the things that we have, Ohm and I talk every day, but we have a
Yeah,
scheduled meeting every Wednesday, and we
yeah,
reinforce a couple of different things in those meetings. One
yeah,
is, and we talked about it today, which is February 20th on
yeah,
our posts, which is stop worrying, start doing, right? I
yeah,
mentioned that. The other thing that we believe is all gas, no brakes. Like if we're gonna do it, let's go do it, right? And go plow through it.
yeah,
Um, and the other thing that we use, and I won't use the curse word, but it's F it. Let's go for it. Like
yeah,
we'll figure it out, right? We'll
yeah,
figure it out. And so, yeah, it took a big leap of faith for Ohm to leave his civil engineering job.
yeah,
It was a big leap of faith for me to say, you know what, goodbye, corporate America. I'm going to go do
yeah,
my own thing.
yeah,
But a lot of that is born out of this idea that we can do it. And we're going
yeah,
to stop worrying about what
yeah,
other people believe we should do and start doing our own thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And we will find community, right? If you're leading, you will find community. People will come join you and want to be a part of it. And
yeah,
those that don't, you can't worry about them,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we've been very fortunate to not only find each other in this world
Mhm,
and become business partners, but we got to be able to talk to you.
mhm,
We're having a fireside chat on Tuesday coming up where
mhm,
we're talking to Adina O'Neill, who's a swim coach
mhm.
and a triathlon coach out in Boston. And we
Yeah,
just talked to Carla Marie Simon out in Wisconsin.
yeah,
And it's just this big community
yeah,
that people want to help each other and support each other. And we
yeah,
don't worry about the others,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You don't want to be a part of this community. That's okay. You don't
yeah,
have to be.
yeah, yeah.
We don't worry about it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So what y'all doing? It just like had me thinking. I do have my day job. That's still trying to grow, live, run balance. I'm not where I want to be at. But I thought about like, what if I could just go all in on what I'm doing? What could more it could become if I just go all in, you know, you know, and but no, I do have that. I do have my safety net. I'm working, my day job. But what if I just go all in with what I'm doing right now? So yeah, and then not worry. Yeah, so I'm still learning, still trying to get there.
It, here's what it's all about, brother. It's
Yeah,
progress, not perfection.
yeah,
So if you are working your day job and you come home and you're able to do 1% more than you did the day before
yeah,
for LRB, right?
yeah, yeah,
Before you know it, you will have built a business with LRB that will allow you to peel away from your day job. It's
yeah,
just, being dedicated to it. Look, you train for ultras, right?
Yeah.
And on day one, you didn't go out and run 31
Oh,
miles,
no, no,
right?
no, no.
Right. So you ran a mile, and then it
Yeah.
became 2 miles, then it became
Yeah.
6 miles, and became 12 miles. Do the same thing with LRB.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do just a little bit more, just like a training plan, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Before you know it, you'll take that leap of faith because you'll be like, man, I got this. I
Yeah.
could do it.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. There are two people on this call right now that will be behind you all the way. Will support you in building your dream.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Yeah. I guess now the community, this community is all about, you know. And again, staying in the community topic, uh, what have RunTriBike meant for both of you and being part of this running/tri community? I know you talked about a little bit, but just emphasize a little bit more about what being part of this community meant to both of y'all.
Oh man, it means like every time I even talk about it, like I said, like it's hard to put into words, but it means, but I'll try. Like it means the absolute world to me for us to like not only be able to put something out like this,
Yeah.
but to there were moments when we were making this business, and Jason can attest to this. Like we've had many, as anyone, I'm sure you've had them as well. We've had our sleepless nights. We've had our moments where we've wondered if this was the right choice. You know, when we say stop worrying, start doing, it's because Jason and I are pretty big overthinkers, and there was a lot of worry before the doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for us to be hearing things like, you know, talking to our friends at Catula who are partners with us and hearing about how much they appreciate what we're doing for them, for us to put out like our fireside chats and to get messages from people saying like they really like what we're doing, or to get, you know, to get that sort of feedback and realize that what we're doing is actually impacting people and shaping lives, and also helping people see themselves in the sport, which is the most important thing because, you know, Jason and I are kind of living it. You know, he's Puerto Rican, I'm South Asian. We're not, you know, big groups within endurance sports. And then you have, and then to be able to put out stories of athletes who are disabled, LGBTQ, maybe the single mom who's trying to do like raise 3 kids and train for her first Ironman, to be able to put out stories like that and to give like those people, other people with similar stories, a blueprint, to be able to see themselves in the sport. I mean, that just means the world to me. Like, there isn't any dollar figure in the world, whether I could go back to civil engineering and make 6 figures again, that could, you know, be as good as like what I'm able to do with RunTriBike, which is like, you know, having that purpose is like, man, like it's just unbelievable. Like the purpose of doing this means more to me than any dollar figure could.
Okay. Like that.
This is a tough question, Kenneth. It really is, because there are so many components to it all. And so as a business owner, we get messages from advertisers, race directors or event organizers, complementary businesses that we're either helping market their business through our platform, or we're doing marketing services, writing articles, dropping emails for them. And they tell us that what we're doing is helping their business. Awesome. That is massive. Then we have athletes that are sending us DMs. Hey, what kind of bike shoes should I get? What kind of trainer should I get? What kind of running shoes should I get? That tells us that we are a trusted member of the community. And that means a ton to us. And then we hear from our guests on our fireside chats that are also podcasts that they got clients because that their episode was heard and they were able to get clients. And And so you take all these little pieces and parts, a bunch of different spokes, and it makes that wheel go round and round, right? And that to me is everything I had when I was envisioning this business. When I launched the business, the motto was there's a spot at the starting line for everybody.
Okay.
And we wholeheartedly believe that. We don't care if you finish dead last or if you win the event. You matter. Your story matters. Your story inspires. And we want to be able to share that, because then we know other pieces of the endurance sports community world are going to get touched by it.
Yes.
And so then when we get compliments, or meaning through comments that people send us, that's everything. And it allows us to keep moving forward and keep pushing forward and keep uncovering the untold story. Keep having the athlete who's going for their first marathon that we posted today, or the person who's going for their first Ironman. And we have a series of articles coming out about that. Jaden Sampson, who is transgender, right? Like, it takes a lot to come out as transgender. It takes a lot to go after your first half Ironman, and to allow us to be the platform to tell that story. Man, like, I'm gonna make myself cry thinking about it, right? It's just that important. It's just that important.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody got a story to tell. Yeah, so definitely. And yeah, I created a platform for people that like to tell this story. Yeah, so so it's definitely, and just I have a big part in the community. So yes, uh, to totally agree. So, who have inspired both of you in your journey, both of your journey in fitness and life?
My answer for the inspiration in life has been and will always be my mother.
Okay. Okay.
My mother had graduated high school, but it lived in Spanish Harlem, right? Not a lot of money.
Yeah.
Bunch of sisters and brothers, poor, and managed to make a life for my father, my sister, and myself, and allowed me to go to college and do the things that I do. And I know it wasn't easy for her.
Yeah.
And so when I think about like the inspiration, it's definitely my mother. And then if we're going to talk about like just specifically in endurance sports, it's always going to be that person that's in the back of the pack.
Okay.
It's great if you can run a 4-minute mile in a 2-hour marathon. You have all the talent in the world. That's phenomenal. And it's not easy to do. But when I think about the person who is overcoming issues and obstacles and is still, finishing in the back of the pack, taking longer than anybody else can imagine, like, that's the inspiration. How can I not, who has some athletic ability, not go out there and push myself when that person is pushing themselves? I'm depriving the community of inspiring them if I cheat myself out because they're out there doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for me, it's got to be my parents too. I mean, endurance sports is like, while it's difficult, it's also like, I always like to say that we don't have to do it, we get to do it. You know? Life, the difficulties in life, you don't get to do them, they just happen. And my parents, they fought through a lot. They came from absolute zero to put a roof over our heads, to make a living for me and my sister. And it's one thing to fight the battle of endurance sports, it's another thing to climb from zero and make your way up to being something in life. And the support that they give me is like, it's whether it be like physical support or mental support, like, it's it's unbelievable. And
Yeah.
they've always been my biggest inspirations. My dad for his hustle, my mom for her caring spirit, and both
Mhm.
of them for just being absolute fighters and
Yeah.
instilling that stubbornness in me as well.
That's good. I like that. So I guess for the theme of this is the parents, those that came before you, that allow both of y'all to able to do what y'all do, in life. And so yeah, yeah. Like that, God, I always think, it's my ancestors, family, people that come before me, that allow me to be here, that give me the opportunity to do what I have to do, so yeah, definitely. Um, so with Run Try Bike, yeah, they're doing great. I got some good stuff going on. How far do y'all want to go? How far do y'all think can go with Run Try Bike?
Man, like why put a finish line on a
Okay,
dream,
okay.
right? Like
Yeah,
we launched this business 2 years ago. We're starting year three, and we
yeah.
have goals. We have goals to grow the business. We have goals to grow our social media platforms and
Mhm.
our community. Um, but there's no reason to limit them,
Okay.
right? Like what we want to do is continue to bring people in.
Yeah.
And as long as there's somebody out there sitting on their couch thinking, can I do this?
Mhm.
We want to be there to tell them, yes, you can. That's what we want to do.
Okay.
You know, again, it's a business. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
If somebody called us up today and said, "Hey, we want to offer you, a check that's got 9 numbers and 3 commas in it," of course we're
Yeah.
gonna, of course we're gonna listen, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
honestly, like we're growing this business, but we're also growing as humans and as
Yeah.
people, listening to stories, and that's really
Yeah.
hard to say. Here's our end game on that.
Okay. Like that.
Yeah,
Hector.
for me, it's if Jason, if Jason is saying what he's saying and he's the more business minded of the two of us, then
Yeah.
I believe the same thing.
Okay.
Like there is no limit to sharing people's stories, and I mean, like that all gas no brakes mantra
Mhm.
has been like our thing since like, well, it's been his thing for way longer, like
For a
endurance
long
sports and
time.
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But like ever since the start of 2023, and even before that, while we were
Yeah.
like building things up, knowing that this might be like, no, this will be a breakthrough year.
Yeah.
uh, our mentality has just been like, well, it's been effort, but it's also been like all gas no brakes, like
Yeah.
just end it, just go for it. Like the worst thing people can say is no. If you don't ask, you'll never know.
Mhm.
Let them reject you. Like we're just getting after it. And we'll see where that takes us. And you know even if that's 1% progress every day, or um, doing one small task on that particular day, as long as we're getting better each day, we'll get, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Jason and I are both ultra runners.
Yeah.
There was a time where we both, and even for you, I'm sure there was a time when, like we could only do a quarter of a mile.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so, if that was the case in ultra running, and now he's done Cocodona and he's done 100 milers, I've
Mhm.
done 100 milers, and you eventually did like your first ultra, like,
Yeah.
you know, why put a limit on, um, the business
Yeah.
when we've seen what happens when you keep putting in the work every day
Mhm.
to become a better human and to become better in other aspects of life. Just keep pushing every day and see where it goes.
Yes. I get that the key for being balanced. So I guess no, don't set any limit. Just see how far you could go and you continue to go with it.
If I'm gonna fail, then I want to fail on my own terms. I have a
Okay.
mantra that I've been following for the last 6, 7 months, and that
Okay.
is, I'd rather fail big than win small.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. Mm.
Actually, even I think it's even been building since I left my corporate career. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you know, if you fail, you fail, but I'd
Yeah.
rather fail on my own terms, and I'd rather fail big than get a small win, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm going to grow more as an individual from it. And, you're going to learn things from
Mhm.
failure that you won't learn from success.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, I just want to go big with this and see how
Yeah.
far it goes.
Okay. I like
I
that.
know in many aspects, Jason feels the same way.
Yeah. So you feel the same way, Jason?
Absolutely. One of the things that we talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
often is that failure is not terminal, it's the building block to success.
Okay.
So if we send out a sales pitch to a company
Yeah.
and they tell us no, that's not failure.
Yeah.
That's a lesson. That's a
Yeah.
learning opportunity to get better at the next thing. If we
Yeah.
go out for a training run and our goal is to, or our plan says to run 15 miles and we run 12, that's not a failure. That's a
Yeah.
lesson. What did I
Yeah.
do that caused me not to reach that 15
Yeah.
miles, right? If we view, and this is for your audience, if
Mm.
you view failure through the right perspective and prism,
Mm.
you'll never feel like you're failing. You'll always feel like you're learning.
Yeah.
And in that moment, you become boundless.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
literally become limitless because you're like, I can make this adjustment. All I got to do is tweak here, and all I got to do is tweak
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and then learn again, and then learn again. If
Yeah.
you make yourself a sponge to continue to learn, you will be living boundless.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go. I love it. Love it. Um, since
By the way,
much, go ahead.
hold on.
Go ahead.
Like
Go ahead.
for your audience who's going to watch this,
Yeah.
let me say this: like, this isn't just hocus pocus stuff, right? We're not like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
believe this stuff.
Yeah.
We live
Yeah.
this stuff every day. Ohm and I talk via
Yeah.
text message, sometimes through video
Yeah.
chat, and
Yeah.
then every Wednesday we have a meeting. Every Wednesday we have a meeting, and we reinforce our vision. We reinforce our mission.
Mm.
We reinforce our mantras. We reinforce our positioning
Mm.
statement. Like, this isn't just some inspirational Twitter account that you
Yeah.
just type and hit send. Like,
Yeah.
we are living this
Yeah.
every day. And when we talk to people like yourselves, or when we
Mm.
interview people for our magazine or for our website,
Mm.
like, we are asking these questions because we want them to know that their stories matter, because they're going to
Yeah.
inspire somebody else,
Yeah.
but it's also going to inspire us. So I just hope your audience isn't like, man, these guys can't be real. The actuality is, yes, we are real. We have
Yeah.
bad days.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. We have bad days, but because we know that failure is not terminal, those
Mm.
bad days, we allow ourselves some grace.
Mm.
Maybe we cry, maybe we pout, maybe we get angry, but we don't live there forever. We move on and
Yeah.
start building that success ladder again.
Yeah.
You ever hear that? You ever hear that thing where they say that fail is just an acronym? It stands for first attempt in learning.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think failure definitely is part of life. Got to go do it. The ups and downs of life, and just find a way just to really to get to it. Um, yeah, it's okay. It's okay to really maybe you guess you don't want to dwell in it too much. But just but find a way to keep going. To do the failures. And hopefully they come out better. Yeah. Yeah. So definitely. Um, so 2023, so individually, what do y'all like racing goals and what we have in store for 2023?
Oh,
I'll let Jason go first on this. He's got his first 100 miler coming up after 4 years.
yeah. So at the beginning of March, I'll be heading out to Jackpot. Ohm will be there. Maybe we'll do a couple of live videos.
Okay.
I'm registered to do the 50 miler out there, as a gauge to where my fitness is leading up to the Canyons 100, which will take place at the end of April. And like Ohm said, this will be my first 100 miler in about 4 years. So I'm pretty excited. Training's been going well. And then once that race is over, we'll let life dictate. You know, there's an opportunity to burn out if I do the 100-miler at the end of April and then just look for the next race immediately. And I don't want to go down that path. So once I finish the 100-miler, I'll reassess where I'm at, see where I am in life, and what I may want to pursue in the fall, winter as another big A race, or find a handful of smaller races and just all gas, no brakes it, man, and see where we end up.
All right.
So this year for me is all about taking what I learned from my DNF at the Moab 240 and building up for the 2024 Triple Crown. I'm going after some shorter races that are not necessarily going to be easier. You know, people will say like, oh, it's a 70K, you've done 100 milers, but the race I'm doing in May is a 70K at Everest Base Camp. So it's at 18,000 feet and it's called the Everest Ultra. So I'm building up for that. All the races I have until July are like short and fast races. So I'm trying to build speed and strength. And then September, my A 100-miler of the year is the Bear 100. So I'm gonna get after that, and then it's all building towards the Triple Crown of 200s in 2024. Which again is another goal that, you know, I wouldn't have even dreamed of doing a 200-miler. Again, shout out to HROD for that, you know, because I didn't even know that niche in endurance sports existed until I met the guy. So
I know it's crazy, just crazy.
Yeah. But it's pretty much what it is. And just other than that, you know, just trying to push my personal limits, do good for charity, and just be a better human every day.
I saw some of the charity things you've been doing, which is pretty cool. So since RunTri Bike, what's some, like, I guess, highlight, or I guess someone said like highlights moment since RunTri Bike, you know, such a like it's a highlight moment that stuck out to you, to both of y'all.
You want to take that first, Tom?
Oh man, you're asking me to choose from like 100 highlight moments.
I know that. Okay, kind of hard. I guess.
Oh man, we've had some really good ones, but you know, if I had to, you know, all the highlight moments for me are when people tell us how much they appreciate what we're doing. With the business. But you know, one of the ones I remember from last year was a chat that we had with Fast Chicks Triathlon chief in charge, triathlete Yvonne Spencer. And I just remember when we were having that chat, man, like the Fast Chicks community just took over the live. I mean, they were just like, you know, like engaged and like asking questions and like shouting out. And I, you know, Jason and I, after a chat, I turned to him and I was like, man, this is what every chat should be like. And it was one of the first times, you know, when we started this, what I like to call kind of a newer phase of our business. With like the fireside chats and the media aspect of it. It was one of the first times where we kind of saw a vision of what we wanted RunTri Bike to be in the future, as far as like engaging with our community. And every time we have one of those like aha moments, or we get somebody telling us how much they appreciate what we're doing, that's always a highlight for me.
So I got a bunch of them, honestly. So I will never forget the first email I got for how it all started from some dude named Aum. And I was like, how did this person find us? Like I had reached out to people to get the business started and have them write their how it all started. But Ohms was the very first one that came inbound to us.
Nice.
And that was a huge milestone to have that happen. And look where we are today. Another massive milestone for me was honestly getting in touch with you, Kenneth. I still see the black and white photo that is on our website with your story on how it all started and how much it resonated with me. The conversation that we had last week with Carla Marie Simon, who has autism and has medaled 3 times at the Special Olympics, has a 100-mile and a 200-mile finish. Those are some major milestones. And I got to be honest with you, like right now, I'm looking at the top of this screen and I see a Southeast Asian dude, I see an African-American dude, and I see a Puerto Rican dude, right? Like that is a massive and major milestone in the ultra running and endurance sports community. Because if we went to a starting line together, there's a very good chance there would only be 3 people that look like us, and it would be us, right? There's a very good chance there'd be 1 Southeast Asian dude, 1 African-American dude, and 1 Puerto Rican dude. Like this is a massive milestone. And the more we can talk about it, the more people we can influence to get started. Maybe there's other Puerto Ricans looking around being like, man, I don't know anything about this 100-miler, but that dude who lived in the Bronx, who grew up with a poor family is doing it. Man, I don't know anything about this 100-miler, but there's an African-American dude who has a great how it all started story that I read on RunTriBike. And if he can do it, I can do it. And maybe there's a Southeast Indian or Asian kid who's like, man, I don't know anything about this stuff. You know, I'm poor, I can't get through. And they see Aum's story and realize that he's doing it and he's the co-owner of a business. Like this is a major milestone, and it's not one that we should just ignore and flippantly move on from. So thank you for having us on this conversation, because this is breaking a barrier.
Definitely, you know, it's my pleasure, you know, to have both of y'all, you know. So definitely, I enjoyed the company. I enjoyed just us work together and to get to know y'all, you know. So so definitely, and so definitely, I want to end with and getting y'all, both of y'all, boundless motivation and thoughts. You know, I know I had an opportunity to think about that not, you know, but yeah. So what is your boundless motivation and thoughts in a few words?
For me, it's simple. I've said it before in this conversation. I'll say it again.
Say it again.
Stop worrying and start doing.
Okay.
Right? Like, don't worry what Jane from Maine is going to think about on your post on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, or how fast you run or how slow you run or how many miles you do. Don't worry about that person. Worry about the path that you're on, because you're the only one who's living that path. Stop worrying, start doing.
Stop worrying, stop doing. Start just doing. Yes.
Yeah, for me, the first one is kind of in line with what Jason was saying. It's just like be, you know, just 1% better every day, you know, like James Quick. You know, whether it's an inch, whether it's a foot, you know, one small task towards what you're doing. And the other one for me will always be, you know, I'd rather fail big than win small.
Okay. Love both of that. Love both of the bonus motivation and thoughts. I definitely appreciate it. And thank you once again, Jason Aum, for joining me in the LRB family. Well, before we go, if people want to like reach out to y'all and get in contact with y'all, how will you do that?
We're on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's at RunTriMag, RunTriMag. And that's our website as well, runtrimag.com. And if you want to send us an email, info@runtrimag.com, and we will absolutely respond to it. We love to hear from people, and we love to be able to provide a platform to help them tell their stories.
Awesome. Love it. Love it.
Oh, wait. Oh, tell them where else we're at.
Well, you know, I was just going to say, like, they could just shoot us a DM, you know, on RunTriMag, and chances are that, like, you know, one of us will see it and message the other person and say, hey, somebody here is asking for you, or, you know, if they're just reaching out to the organization as a whole, one of us will get back and hit you up, and we'll let you know which one it is. We, we used to just shoot DMs as just, without putting our names on it, but we like the personability of like the person knowing that it's Jason responding or Ohm responding. And we will, believe me, like, you could go through, I could show you the DMs right now, and this will absolutely hold up. But when people send us messages, we'll get back, and it won't be a canned response. I promise. Like, you tell us your story, and we'll make sure it's heard, and we'll make sure to, talk to you like we're talking to a friend, or we're chatting with another human being that we're intrigued in. It's one of my favorite things to do in the business, and I think it's one of Jason's favorite things to do as well.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude. Now I'm tested that. So in the message that we share, quite a few times. So yeah, definitely. So thank you once again for this opportunity, just able to like chat with y'all, and for just really just giving some of your time. Yeah, so for making this happen. And thank you, Live Run Bounded family, for joining me for another episode of the Live Run Bounded show. Living a life beyond the boundary you set on yourself. Now, I appreciate Jason for showing me and us what it means to live beyond the boundary you set on yourself, and not to worry, but just just start doing, not to worry. And we're gonna feel big, So yes, definitely, and that going beyond the boundaries, So thank you once again. Thank you, family. Until next time.